Men of Reddit. What's a myth about men that's 100% untrue and it infuriates you whenever you hear it? Story 1. How men are on commercials. How we can't do laundry, cook, raise kids, or anything without our wives coming to show us how. Look, idiots, I'm single and I do all my own cleaning, laundry, dishes, etc. I have never stared at a mop like it was a plasma death ray. Nor have I ever had to rush out to buy dinner because I burned mine. Well, a few times when drunk, but that's not the same thing. I also am capable of taking care of a baby without having to call a woman to give me directions. I don't have kids, but I have younger cousins and whatnot. I can change a diaper and bottle feed just fine. Edit, rip my inbox. Lord, this blew up. 7,000 upvotes and over 100 responses. Looks like I am not alone. Story 2. I struggle a lot with self-esteem and self-worth. I started seeing someone lately. She gives me a lot of compliments, and I honestly don't really know how to handle it. I've never exactly gotten many compliments through my life, and when I asked a few people I know about it, they all admitted they thought I'm attractive. I was baffled. The thought that I could be good looking is foreign to me, precisely because I never get compliments of any kind. My other male friends feel pretty much the same way. Story 3. That men can't be victims of abuse or domestic violence from women. Yeah, we can, and statistically, if we report it, there's a solid chance that we'll be the ones going to jail for it, even if all we did was take it and not fight back. Screw that. Edit. Holy crap gold for getting angry at a past experience. My brothers who have dealt with this, I'm sorry. I wish I had advice for dealing with it, but I unfortunately don't. To all others, FBI says at least 40% of domestic violence happens to men. We need to destigmatize this and make punishment just as severe for women who perpetrate abuse as it is for men. Story 4. As a father of 5, 3 bio, 2 foster children, the automatic suspicion that surrounds me whenever I'm alone in public with my children is infuriating. One of our foster girls is black, I'm white, and I've had people outright follow me in public when I've taken her shopping for someone on one time. If you see a man with a child in public and you start with the assumption that he's a perv, that's sexism. Edit. While this was a lot to come back to after dinner, I changed my last sentence to be less harsh and more in line with my actual thoughts. There are several comments that essentially say it's better to start with a perv assumption and be wrong than to be naive and put a child at risk. I strongly disagree and believe this is faulty, emotion-based reasoning. Child abuse is wrong. Sexism and profiling are wrong. Excusing one to stop the other doesn't make it right. Story 5. Was drugged at a party and woke up in a coworker's bed. She had been making passes and I just assumed I had drank too much and agreed to it. Couldn't remember a single thing after we left the apartment to head to the bar. Turns out she dropped a bar of Xanax in my drink and was bragging about it the next day at work. Wasn't even her first time doing it to people, I later found out. Reported it to the police and had to sit there insisting on filing a report. Nothing ever happened with it and I checked out fine in the STD department, so I just let it go. But holy frick, was it an eye-opening experience. Empathize with every person that goes through the ordeal and doesn't have enough proof that it happened. Edit. I appreciate the kind messages all. Keep being awesome people. Story 6. I freaking hate the dirty looks I get from mothers when I take my child to the playground. For some reason I am considered a pervert first before a responsible parent. Yes, I'm staring at the play equipment covered in kids. No, I'm not getting my rocks off look at said kids. I'm supervising my own son playing with random group of kids. It's like mom are allowed to have this unkept, run down, tired as frick look and be considered a hard-working mom. Put on kept dad, run down, tired as frick looking, and I'm a freaking child assaulter. Gives me the craps, and now I have reservations about taking my kid to the park. In saying that, any scruffy looking man I see around a playground I go on high alert. Story 7. That men can't be on the receiving end of domestic violence, especially if their argument for saying so is something along the lines of men are bigger and stronger than women. The man wouldn't lose. Something I've heard said on the topic way too much, including from my own mother, thinking that is sexist in both directions. I mean, at the very least, I'm pretty sure a pistol doesn't care if it was fired by a bodybuilder or an infant. The same goes for psychological abuse, which gets into something very closely related. Society telling guys to man up about something or someone harming them is a major part of why so many can't get help when they need it. Hey guys, are you enjoying the video? If so, please like and subscribe, as it really helps out the channel. Anyways, back to the stories. Story 8. That emotional abuse isn't something we face too. We often dismissed, discredited, or suffer in secret. Lots of men don't get help for this reason. that we can't say no. The perception is that we constantly want to do it, and if we don't want it, it's because there is something wrong with the person who is offering intercourse. Let no mean no for us too. That any objection to a relationship is proof of fear of commitment. That if I'm explaining something that someone already knows, it's immediately construed as mansplaining. Guess what? Sometimes I'm trying to share information to help, and you know that information. I made a bad assumption. It isn't because you're a woman, and it isn't because I think you're stupid. I might just be being condescending regardless of your gender. I might just be over-explaining. Ask, I'll tell you, that it's okay for any women to feel completely confident of tell me how I should be and what my partner wants in a relationship. Every woman is different and should be treated as an individual. Your tastes and values are different from every other person's, and as much as you know about women, you have never been a heterosexual male. Don't tell me how to be a man. I don't tell you how to be a woman. That every man shares common traits. I'm lumped in with every person with a junk, and assumptions are made about me, my perceptions, and my behavior because I have a penis. That boys growing up today don't experience shame at being a man. They are innocent people who have done nothing. They didn't ask for a junk. If your messaging is that everyone with a junk is evil, they internalize that. Story 9. I was in an abusive relationship for 2 years. I had my life controlled. I was isolated from my friends and family, and I shrunk to 120 pounds because of how little I was eating. I was offered no help to anyone I talked to, even when she threatened to kill herself if I left. It hurts me when people act like woman-to-man abuse isn't a big deal, doesn't happen. When I've tried to talk about it, I get responses like every guy claims their ex is crazy, immediately downplayed. It also bugs me, and maybe this is specific to where I live, that in the current climate everything is about demonizing men. I really went through hell with this girl, and after finally pulling through, I'm rewarded with being frequently antagonized and told my story doesn't matter. I understand the social climate isn't personal to me, but after going through what I did, it's very hard to hear. Story 10. That if you're not into at least one type of sport, to the point of damn near obsession, then you're not really a man. Okay, I like American football. Every Sunday that my favorite team plays is like a mini holiday to me. I buy decent beer. I make a nice meal to eat during the game, and I try to wear a t-shirt with my favorite team's logo on it. But the next day, if you asked me about a specific play, there's a 50-50 chance that I won't remember it unless it was something really incredible. And I have no clue about any players or staff on any other team in the league unless they're a superstar. And I don't watch any other sports. I have zero interest in doing so. And I know that most of this makes me seem less manly in the eyes of a lot of people. Even women. Same thing with outdoorsy crap like hunting and fishing. I mean, I like fishing, but I didn't take it up until I was in my 40s, and I don't really know crap about it except for the extreme basics that's pretty much just common sense. I got into it mostly as a reason to get outside with my young son. Story 11. That we are all assaulter at heart. That men had some kind of institutionalized privilege back in the day. Dying from black lung in the coal mines or getting gassed in the trenches in WWI is not privilege. That driving a pickup truck or owning a gun or doing anything masculine means we have a small junk. Stop thinking about our junk so much. That men can't be assaulted. In TV, slapping a woman is abuse. Slapping a man is comedy. That for men, intercourse is just a physical release. We have it for fun and it controls our every move. Intercourse is deeper than that for us. If a woman craves intercourse and seeks it out, she's sometimes called a B, but sometimes she's called an assertive, strong woman who go out and gets what she wants. If a man craves sex and seeks it out, he's usually just another intercourse-crazed pervert. There is also a misconception about dating. For men, dating can be very dangerous. We are always at risk of being thrown in jail and having our lives ruined. Any woman who doesn't acknowledge this is sexist. The list could go on for hours, but I have to go to work as a nurse who is male, so I've pretty much got to put up with crap that women would consider sexist. Story 12. Disclaimer, because it's 2019. You know why? These are my thoughts on the topic of this thread and are gross generalizations based on personal observations, experience. You are more than welcome to disagree. In fact, I encourage it because we're men. We really don't know what we're talking about, do we? Do we? All men are the same. No, the frick, we're not. You have a type. You're attracted to that type, and that type consistently lets you down. And that's every man's fault. Nah, brah. Literally every woman I have ever heard say that has never been with me, thus making that statement categorically untrue. Men only want one thing. Yeah, you to tell us what the frick you want from us, clearly and concisely. Stop trying to run the game or be coy and get pissed when we give up. Being flirty is one thing, but you gotta know when to cut the crap and shoot straight. Also, I want two things, an endless supply of gunpla and to live a happy life. But if I can only have one, being miserable whilst building an army of tiny plastic robots doesn't sound too bad. Men never listen. Communication is a two-way street and you have to know your audience. Do you show interest in what he talks about? You can't expect him to listen to you if you aren't willing to reciprocate. That being said, there are men and women with the personality of driftwood, so men get treated better than women. I'd argue that, in general, the opposite is more often the case, but I suppose it comes down to personal experience, the parties involved, and who is more willing to admit to being treated unfairly. Last, but most certainly not least, chivalry is dead. Well, when everything these days is assault, discrimination, or a thought crime, of course I'm going to avoid anything to do with you. I'll take a tweet about this idiot, just let the door shut in my face. Instead of, this misogynist beta made me feel weak by holding the door and allowing me to go first and forced me to thank him all so he could stare at my ass. Also, in simplest terms, chivalry's more like a code of conduct one elects to follow rather than something to be expected of an individual. Story 13. Men have no interest in being part of wedding planning. WTF, I love my soon-to-be fiancé. I want her to love our wedding. Yes, it's her day, but it's also my day. More to the point, it's our day. We are about to have a ceremony and party commemorating a commitment to spend our lives together, so why wouldn't I be a partner in planning a ceremony? Party memorializing a partnership. But people comment when my girlfriend and I go to a wedding expo together. I went to one by myself yesterday. My girlfriend was busy with work to gather info on options. And while 90% of the brides were there by themselves, it was weird for me to be there by myself. I had to ask for raffle tickets from multiple vendors that they were handing out automatically to brides at the end of table conversations. And despite having the same ticket for entry as everyone else, I wasn't eligible to win the $4,000 grand prize package at the end. It was only for brides who were still present in the room. Even though a free honeymoon to Paris and some wedding planning, wedding services would have been equally useful too, wanted by me. I'm not a men's rights activist, and I'm not going to make a formal issue of this, but technically, that violated several provisions of my state's anti-discrimination laws, which prohibits discriminating based on gender, marital status, and orientation. I was told if I was in a same-sex relationship, I could win. Of course, I joined my girlfriend for conversations with the goldsmith about wedding rings to go with the engagement ring. I'm wearing one too, and it's a symbol for both of us. I'm really excited to be getting engaged. I'm really excited to be getting married. I'm excited about planning the wedding together and planning our lives together. And I just don't understand the notion that the only involvement a groom has is to wear a rented tuxedo selected by his bride and to show up at the wedding to read a pre-selected script. Story 14. Women are the ones who like to cuddle. I'm a big cuddle bug and my wife isn't. I love we and aren't going anywhere, but good God, sometimes I have to beg for it. She's just now accepting the fact if I slide to her side of the bed or randomly hug on her, I'm not trying to get booty. 20 years of marriage and she's just getting it, but she still don't randomly do it, yet. 2 nights ago, she put her hand on my chest while I was sleeping and it woke me up, and I started smiling. She immediately took her hand back off and rolled over in her sleep. Edit, luckily my 8Y0 daughter is, and it's not the same, but if I need a hug or something, she's there for me and always jokes about it. Story 15. I'm a dad with 3 young kids under 5. I also have a full-time job, as does my wife. Because of how our schedules work out, there are a few days a week where they are home with me while my wife is at work. Every freaking daddy duty line, or someone asking me how I'm getting by babysitting, or making a joke about what a mess the house must be, or how I better not let the kids burn the house down, just makes me want to punch the person who says it. Yeah, it's hard. Some days it's really freaking hard. I'm always tired. I'm always behind on things I'd like to do. But you know what? Nobody says that crap to my wife. It's not babysitting, I'm a freaking parent. I even get funny looks when I'm alone at the grocery store with my own damn kids, like people are watching a chimp that's been trained to perform some kind of amazing trick. The stigma about male parents, about goofy inept dads, about me needing to be rescued from being alone with my own kids, it really pisses me off every time. Story 16. Happened to me last night. Because I talk to a woman doesn't mean I want to hook up with her. Sometimes I am just trying to be nice, or helpful, or just making a new friend. Oh, and in that note, I am not attracted to every girl who breathes, or is thought of as hot by other guys. On that, Just because a guy likes something more girly makes him no less of a straight guy. Then it would make a straight woman more of a guy for liking guy things. I don't hate or am homophobic of gay men because I am straight. I honestly think gay people make some of the best friends. I like to mentor young people because most of my life I didn't have that. I did get the rare good soul, and feel I should return the favor. I am not being creepy, as the world thinks. I have no interest in these kids, keyword, other than seeing them grow up better and healthier than I got to. Also, don't assume I could fix your car. I mean I can. But don't assume it. Story 17. That men and women can't be friends. Maybe they can't in general cases, but for me I can. I had 2 sisters growing up. I get along well with both women and men. Through work I became good friends with 2 coworkers, both in very serious relationships, one getting married, and I'm great friends with their SOs as well. Yet still, people at work thought we were hooking up because we would talk at our desks a little more than I guess they thought appropriate. Then some other guys in my office that I'm friends with, oh you like her, how wink wink, and even when I reply, no, we are great friends, but I don't see them in that way, and they are in relationships with people that I would never mess with regardless. They are super nice guys and they just reply with oh haha Jim and Pam. Like yep, that's my only option, right? Either I'm ruining someone's relationship or waiting it out. No way in hell I could just be friends with them, right? Story 18. If the genders were reversed, feminists would be screaming at the top of their lungs about rape culture and such. It's just so gross, and she's coming off as a creepy stalker saying I won't stop until I get your love. This song pretty much seems to represent what a lot of women, and some men, think about harassment and such of men. Post about it on Reddit and you instantly have a ton of feminists basically saying we can't be sexually harassed and blaming the guy for being harassed in the first place. This celebration of female sexuality we're experiencing seems to be getting to a point where some women thinks it means that it's okay to act like this. It's not. Women have desires and all, that's great, and it's okay to express them. It doesn't give any woman license to be a pushy bee about it, though. Hey guys, just found out you watched till the end. That is awesome. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more awesome stories.